Everybody, and welcome to another very special Smoke and Mirrors. This episode is brought to you by Orthodonture. Orthodonture, there are some families who have a lot of money and could really benefit from orthodonture that's a bit better. And now, here's a song. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. And now here they are, your invenerable host, Carlos Kareem. What? Joshua? Joshua? What in the world was that? What? No, honey, we practiced this earlier. Okay, it's okay. You know what? We're just going to cut that. We're going to cut that. Don't even worry about it. Give the introduction one more time, please. And now, here they are, your invenerable host, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. And that sound is how we know we're here. How are you? Welcome to another Smoke and Mirrors. My, oh my, oh my, oh my. Have we some things to talk about today, isn't it? Boy. So get yourself situated. It's going to be. There's a pile. Do you have a warm bevy? Might be out of fucks. If you're out of fucks, get you sippy. There are certainly some people who have been showing the world that they're out of fucks, isn't it? Boy, let's get into that in a minute, though. First, I want to let you know about something that I am going to be doing and hope that you can join me to do coming up on April's 1st. Those were almost words that formed a sentence. On April 1st, there's an event coming up that I am going to be not only participating in, but will be providing facilitation for this engagement. I hope you'll join me and my co-host with the co-most, Teresa Logan, as we will be presenting and facilitating a 3-part conversation beyond DEI, confronting white affirmative action and anti-blackness in professional spaces. This will be happening on April 1st. If you are in the communities on the Book of Face or in the YouTubes, you will see producer Tracy dropping the information for you in the chat. Registration is open now. We'll get more information as we get closer to the date. We're going to talk about anti-blackness and germane to nothing. I've been watching some shows recently. So lockdown has brought to us all new awarenesses of things that we did not know that we like, things of which we are perhaps a fan that we didn't know we would be a fan of. I, for instance, had no idea that I cared about a shanty. Didn't know that. Lockdown has taught me that over this past year. I did not know that I could enjoy an NBA basketball game with absolutely no crowd participation. Turns out it's a bit true. And I did not know, nor would I ever have anticipated, that I would become a bit of an Anglophile and a bit of a fan of The Crown. Oh my God, y'all. Did you see the premiere? Did you see the premiere of the new season of The Crown? Holy shit. It is all anybody's talking about. I want to talk about it too. It is amazing. First of all, we got to go back and think about a few things before I get too deep into this right here. Okay. Uh, well, okay. I know. Why could I have gotten into the crown? Uh, well, so many ways. One is that I like things that are fabulous. One of the things that are fabulous, of course, is Sylvester. Alan, I see you. I see you. We see you there, recognizing the, huh? And if nobody else gets it, there was a joke in the runner. I don't even know if y'all even look at those anymore, but I know Alan does. Thank you, Alan. Joshua appreciates that, and so do I. Uh, Listen, why would I care? Why would I care about the crown? I slipped into it on accident, but there's a deeper reason that I would care about what happened on this week's episode than I have cared about a lot of the other episodes and a lot of the other seasons in the past. One is that this particular episode and the outcomes of it may actually lead to the rise of a Labour Party that is committed to workers' rights in the UK because of the TV show. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Well, in the TV show and because of the TV show. It's all a bleed. Let's get meta with it. So let's first of all recognize that where I first got into the crown, I could not. So for years, I'd been hearing that it's such a good shoe. My mother was always an Anglophile of sorts. In spite of being an indigenous Chicana woman, very, very heavily dedicated to labor rights movements, to teachers' rights, to unions, and to me being able to be very solid in my own blackness. She grew into getting solid with me in my gender expression. We got there. Listen, she used to love things like Upstairs, Downstairs. She used to love what was it? The Downtown Abbey, Downtown Lobby, Aberthin, Warburton. If there was ever a thing that sounded like that, she loved it. She loved it. So I decided that after 2 years of her passing, I used to, even when I lived with her as an adult, I could not get myself through one of those shoes. I could not deal with, once I started hearing talk like this, I was gone. I didn't want it in my life, in my world. My mother has now been gone for going on 3 years. And I'll tell you what, I kind of want it in my world a little bit more. I like the reminders. I like my cup of coffee that reminds me of my mommy. I love my smell good that reminds me of mom. And loving the crown. Holy cow. The casting, exquisite. The arc of the story. And it does piece together some historical things. If you're going to use it as an historical text, I highly suggest that you have a bit of a Googles and Wikipedia alongside you so that you don't start mixing fact and fiction. Do you know what I'm saying? Last night's show, season premiere, oh, wow, this is going to be some shit. Okay, so the casting, first of all, exquisite. I have to admit, season 4. I did not start season 1. I kind of worked in reverse. I started in season 4 and then I went in reverse because I had to walk my way up. I had to start where there was a Diana because it was like, well, where is there some me here? I see no entry point into this, if not through the thing that is familiar, the people who are and were alive, and also maybe the stuff with Thatcher, because I already had a very firm opinion about her. Again, workers' rights. So, grew up with Reagan. There was so much to explore. And coming up next, we're going to talk about all of the things in there that there were. But first, here's a word from me about me. Hey, do you like what we do here at Smoke and Mirrors? Are you a part of the community, or do you want to become a part of the community? Well, you can't do that in so many different ways. The first way, you're watching, you're here. Alan knows we've been in conversation today already. I love chatting it up when we're here together. It's the best. Producer Tracy knows. Look, she's dropped you a few notes. You can be part of the conversation too. That always helps. Another thing you could do that would help would be to leave a like. You could also share this, start a watch party, tell a friend, subscribe. All those things are extremely helpful and extremely free. You could go ahead and hashtag us anywhere with hashtag Smoke and Mirrors CCB, and we will jump into the conversation with you on all of your social media. And if you absolutely love what we are doing here and really want to be a part of it, you want to drop 5 on it, you can do that. I suggest you not. Keep your ducats in your pocket or give them to a cause of people who are needing some money right now. But if you want to and you've got the extra, you're welcome to drop 5 on it at Venmo at Godlos-Wyndham, and Cash App at $CK Wyndham, and PayPal /me.CK Wyndham. You would also be more than welcome to become one of the lovely patrons, as are all of the people you see scrolling over the screen. And they're the people who truly support what we do here in the fiscally sense. So if you wanted to do that, you would go to the Patreon. And that is at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That's Patreon at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. We hope to see you there. And now on with our chat. So, the Princess of Wales did some amazing things that were very, very upsetting to the crown. The crown being the queen. The crown being not a person as they describe. The crown is not a person, it's an institution. This institution is upheld by the firm. The firm are these very stuffy fellows who know the rules of what the rules are. And they say, hey, we'd like you to stay within the rules because we have to preserve the idea of the crown being a sacred super duper place that is not tarnished, not blemished, and is completely untouchable. It is next to God. It is not to be questioned. It is from God's mouth to the queen's ear, from the queen's mouth to your face, to do what she says. And this has come under quite a lot of strain for a lot of reasons. One, of course, is Princess Diana, who did so many things. Two of the most famous were birthing these 2 children, seen here, wondering why they look so different, and touching Black children. In particular, touching Black children in a way that was not patronizing or suggesting that maybe that they ought to be the servants or that they were decor, and also that who had the AIDS in their bodies and the HIVs in them, and not being afraid to break the taboo of the time that you could maybe contract it if you touched somebody. And so by every standard of the crown, she was sullied by doing stuff like this. It was crazy. It was crazy. Well, so she died. She died. And there is some supposition that perhaps the crown had something to do with this. See, she was a very young girl when she married the Prince of Wales, and he was sort of a dickhead who kept his relationship up with his girlfriend Camilla while she was locked away in the castle, and she could not talk to anybody like Rapunzel. And then she began to let down her hair. And that did not sit well, because then while she was letting down her hair and helping to bring money and funding and things to people who were thought of as untouchable. She also maybe had a couple of affairs, one of which was with a man named Odie, who was the last one that she was seen with. And then when she died, there was some thought that maybe the paparazzi had been put to pushing her to this point with the help of the crown and maybe the killing of her. Was a thought. This was back in the 90s. There is since less thought that that's how it went down. But if you live through it, it's weird to think that maybe that's not. Anyway, she was a pain in their ass. And if you watch The Crown, she was a real pain in their ass. And she helped usher into my life, because again, it's about me, in a very mainstream way, the ladies of perpetual indulgence. I was living in San Francisco on 18th and Cap in the Mission on the evening that Princess Diana died, and that her procession was held, and that the Mission mourned. And it was the first time that I got to meet these ladies and see them real life in person, and then understand the work that they do and have continued to do for liberation, for queer liberation, for AIDS research and medical research, and for just helping the community in San Francisco over these many years. I got to meet them that night when I was watching on TV that Diana had been killed and was concurrently looking to see that. Sorry, I didn't silence my phone. I put it down like I was just gonna be slick. There's no being slick. Turn it off. That's like we've done this. Anyway, the sisters. That's how, so Diana. Also her fashion sense. Very famous for it. You have a bevy? Anyway, the actress who played Diana. Holy shit. Looks just like her. I was just thinking to myself after the last season ended very abruptly, what was I going to do next? And so then I had to watch the thing that Meryl Streep did. I didn't like that very much. And then I watched some other movie about the Queen. It was kind of okay, but it wasn't quite as good. The sets looked a little demure next to what is happening. And this Game of Thrones, like ratcheting up of what is happening now in season 5, I think we're on. It's either 5 or 6. I think it's 5. Is just bananas. So again, back in season 4, all the things, and Charles Wilson, he's terrible, and the Queen is pushy and mean, but she's not mean to be mean. She's mean because of the firm, and the firm makes her do stuff that she didn't even want to do when she was a young queen. She was kind of a get down kind of a person who would get down with the Africans and try to lower the idea that it was just about stealing the jewels, and which it is, and enslaving and colonizing the people, which it is, but it was more than that. Well, anyway, this season they have added Markle here. Meghan Markle, most famous for appearing on what is this, Suits? Could tell you a little bit about that. Where's our wiki info? Let's find our wiki info. Suits was set in a fictional New York City. And followed the talents of a college dropout named of Mike Ross. Mike Ross, you see, was a law associate working for Harvey Spencer. Spencer. Despite not having attended law school ever. And the show focuses on Harvey and Mike closing cases and maintaining Mike's secret. And the show also features characters Louis Litt, Rachel Zane, played here by Meghan Markle, and Donna somebody and some other people. You've never seen it because it was a show that ran in syndication. I'm assuming on the USA channel. I don't know, and it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. Honestly, if you refer to Meghan Markle's career as what happened on this show, as opposed to what's happening this season on The Crown, let me tell you something, honey. You are missing out. That's like talking about Larry Hagman was great on I Dream of Jeannie. That was JR. You're on a different you're on to the John Travolta was great in Welcome Back, Kotter. No, we're not. We're so past it now. So let's get with the program. Let's talk about what she's doing now. So first, we have to catch you up on a few things. This character, Prince Harry. Prince Harry is sort of the outcast son of this generation and this season. Now, he's not like Prince Charles, where Prince Charles was the outcast because he was so kind of like socially maladapted and not much of a warrior, and was being raised by Philip, who really wanted him to be a warrior and wanted him to be a tough guy. And he couldn't be a tough guy. He was not capable of doing it. So this season, though, this one is capable, and so they sent him to war. Now, this is crazy because they never, ever actually, the rich don't send their children into the actual war, right? Like the rich people get to like hang back and not fight. Not this one. This one had to go fight. Almost got killed, kind of like his mom's. And I mean, not the same thing, but it's more like Bone Spurs, right? Remember Lieutenant Bone Spurs here, who couldn't go and fight. That's usually what happens. Or instead of and in lieu of fighting in a war, they would grow a roguish beard, like Prince Charles or myself. Remember the character Klinger who wore earrings on MASH to try to not. They said that the reason there was a trans presence was for him to not go to war. But it's funny because he was in a war. Anyway, so this was a replacement character. I want to be clear because before they were trying to do like a Charles II, and they got a wife for Charles II. Following in the vein of the Diana model, right? And it was going to be, she was from the right stock. They're very into stock. They're very into like breeding, like horses and people. And so she was the right stock, and this was going to be great, they thought. But then, lo and behold, guess who came back to town from the wars? And then also got married. It was this one, and he had like a real outfit to wear because he was an army person, and army people get special wardrobe. They get special drag for special occasions, and he has special occasion drag that his brother, his older brother has special occasion. His older brother also has special occasion drag. But it's pretend drag. It's not really. Do you know what I'm saying? These ribbons and shit don't mean anything. No one gave these. He didn't earn them. He was born into a family that said you can now, as Michael Jackson did, dress like a general of the Sesame Street Muppets, while his baby brother not only kept all the cool and all the swag, also kept most of his hair, at least so far. Oh, also brought in this black girl who is turning out to be quite a thing. Now, when I say this black girl, I want to be fair because she does not. She does not. She may have prior to now referred to herself as a mixed girl and having difficulty because she was never quite black enough and she was never quite white enough. Well, it turns out that she definitely was not white enough, uh, and it starts causing all sorts of controversies because other princesses and queens and such don't do things like this. Though the queen did dance with an African king at a point, and Princess Diana did again pick up the and hold and snuggle on the children. They're just joyous dancing just for fun. Was less frequent. Oh, hugging a black child. No, that is not a thing that had been seen on The Crown before this season. And saluting a little black child as though she is the princess. That certainly has not been done on The Crown before. There is a see, because to suggest that a child that black could also be a princess and not be saluted as such and have her ring kissed. This sort of stuff was starting to cause lots and lots and lots of kerfuffles, all in the castles. I know, girl. I know, it's crazy, right? Like, why? But there's more. You don't know. You don't know. Because what we found out is that look back. Okay, remember a couple of seasons ago, while that was while that was causing all this kerfuffle, right? All of this is causing kerfuffle. That a couple of seasons ago, we learned that Prince Edward, the Duke of Windsor, had tried to sit both sides of the fence and to get down with one Mr. Adolf Hitler as a possibility of ways to get through the war, to get to the other end of it with some success. I know! Yuck! Right? And so this is not the first time that there's been some Nazi flavors or some like racist-ish flavors come up in this family. Just wait. It gets better though, because also too, what you have to remember is that Philip, the current prince, was raised by family of caregivers that he tried to send Charles off to, because his parents, who grew up and were political players in a Nazi occupied place and were very wealthy and were major political players in Nazi occupied areas, that maybe Philip is also maybe a little wee bit of a Nazi. Joshua, come on, that's not Philip. Would you bring up the real picture of Philip, please? Oh. Oh. Hey, I'm on this record, and it's a record called And We Ride, and it's the record that is by a group that's called Wallace, and I'm in it. I swear to God, I make really, really good music with this group. This is a group that is fronted by Aaron Wallace, and we are pretty good. You can get this on Bandcamp. We would deeply appreciate your support. Supporting artists in these trying times is how we get through. Please consider jumping on that bandwagon. And now, let's get back to the show. So Philip, all right, to be clear, I just want to context say that both Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in this season which, oh, by the way, did I mention it stars Oprah Winfrey too? I know. Yes. Oprah Winfrey from The Colors of Purple. That these children were spilling all kinds of beans. First of all, there had been so much internalized and internal hidden kinds of acts of slights and bullshit going on, that along with the horrible press that this black princess was getting in the UK, it began to make her a bit sad, and to the point that it was beyond sad and into the deeply depressed, and into the deeply enough depressed that it was moving towards suicidal. And so she tried to talk to HR about this because, yeah, right, the castle has HR. What? Most of the places that I know that are nonprofits don't have functioning HR. I know of burgeoning and huge conglomerates that don't have a sophisticated HR. Windsor Castle has HR. Anyway, she talked to HR, and HR said, sorry, that sucks. Now this is on the back of knowing that Diana, again, was had become bulimic, had eating disorders, was cutting, was self-harming, because she felt many of the things that the new princess was feeling too, except that in addition to feeling isolated, in addition to having her passport taken, her identity taken, her keys taken upon marrying the prince, do you know what else got taken? Is her ability to ask for help, evidently, because she had a relatively normal life before this, but it wasn't, because it's not, because you can't be an actor on the famous show Suits and be having a normal life. But then she thought she was, and so she knew what she was doing. She was gonna marry another famous person, and they would have famous babies, and everybody would have big famous fun, and she would continue to be special black and mixed, and her baby could be mixed, and everything would be fine. And then the queen and everybody said no, that's not what's going to happen. HR rejects you. And then the papers kept saying that she was whining and that she was making people cry and that she was mean. And then she was like, girl, they making me cry. They mean, they whining. And I know. And this is more tea than has ever been spilt since, I don't know, Winston Churchill showed up a little tipsy one time and knocked over tea while meeting with the Queen Mother. I told you I'm on this season. I'm on the current season. I've been watching this. I'm telling you. This is not a costume. These are not props. I'm in this shit. Okay? Look it. Here's the real shit, though, that got spilt. Here's the shit that got spilt. She said that the queen, not the queen. I'm sorry. She was very clear to say not the queen. She said that somebody at the castle, that there was a conversation that was very worried about the child's potential skin color. Yeah. And then her husband came out and verified that this conversation had happened, but said he didn't want to talk about who had possibly said it because he thought it might possibly cause them some embarrassment, and he was not interested in causing his family further embarrassment. But while he did say that, he did call back to Oprah to make sure that she knew that it absolutely was not the queen. It absolutely was not the queen, which means it could have been any number of people, but somebody did. Girl, I'm telling you, I am telling you. That's not the song. That's not a song. You're gonna love me. There's a song. No, for real, they were worried about the color of the skin of the child. Now, just a thing on that, in terms of colorism, Please look at these children. You did not need to worry that much about the color of the skin of the child, but they were. And the only thing that is more translucent in the British culture than the royal family is, of course, a what do you call ginger? For instance, James Hadwell, seen here being absolutely positively, according to everything he and Prince Harry have ever said, is not in spite of having absolutely been having sex with Princess Diana and having admitted to as much, is absolutely not, positively not the father of Prince Harry, who has known Prince Harry his entire life and clearly it still has been in touch with him well into adulthood, but says he had never even so much as seen Prince Harry until Prince Harry was a toddler, which I don't know why. Fatima, remind me, do you, if a man's impregnates somebody, he could leave for a while, yeah? Right. And then come back and maybe there could be a child there after he left. But it's not, is what I'm saying. I want to be clear. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. Okay. But that if that were true, would certainly contribute to worrying about the skin tone of the child, and then also the fact that there's thought that his mother was assassinated, perhaps by the firm, and then maybe it's the firm's doing that had him off in Afghanistan, fighting in a war with bullets being shot at him. But he's definitely Charles' son. I mean, look at it. Look. Can't deny that. You can't deny that. You just, heredity is what it is. And heredity is so important to the Windsors and to the castle and to the crown and to the firm. It's just so important. And so the heredity, which so clearly is that of Sir Charles, which I can see why you would not want that sullied with the likes of special black Meghan Markle. I could see why you wouldn't want that messed up. That makes sense. But wait, there's more. Okay, so evidently when all of this started to spill and it was getting ready to spill, the castle started losing its shit. The House of Windsor was good. Buckingham Palace was going nuts and nobody knew what to do. And so they were trying to get all of this story straight and make sure they could say whatever they could say, right? Because they can't say, well, no, we're going to deny her experience of racism and call her a loony bin. Or they could say, well, maybe there was some racism, but it wasn't that bad. Or, well, but it was no racism, but she was just an asshole. But they would have to all have the same fucking story, right? Otherwise, it wasn't going to make any sense. And the one thing that they definitely in 2021 knew not to do was to just deny accusations of racism from a black woman on International Women's Day. That would be a bit insensitive. That would be a bit tone deaf. That would be a bit daft. Enter Piers Morgan. That Joshua, what are we doing What are we doing today? It's jokey, jokey jokes with you. I'm trying to talk about this television program. I want to talk about TV show. Why is the queen there? I'm not talking about her. Oh, yeah, well, I don't oh, you're right. Okay, I forgot to mention. She pulled the royal detail when they left the family. She pulled the royal detail. The firm told her to, and then she did it. Now he says that the queen didn't say the thing about the color of the child, but she did. She had to sign it. It was her, she had to actually with her hand. Whether they picked her up and had her, weekend with Bernie's it while she was asleep or whatever they did, she signed the thing that said that forever and ever, this baby born of the princess was never going to have protection. Neither was the princess. And that was part of why from Australia, where they had announced where their location was, and that's very dangerous. You shouldn't just be announcing the location of, people who are political and black, because white people. And so, but she did, and and so did the press. And there's this weird symbiotic relationship between the press and the castle. The castle needs the press to say that the castle matters, and the press needs the castle to have things to write about. And so there are stories that sometimes leak from the castle to the press, and the press will report the stories that the castle wants said. And one that they did not want said, which is true, is that they were going to strip their detail, but they did want leaked their location. And so Harry, again, being an Army veteran and somebody who knows a little bit about reconnaissance, went, that's not so good. And Meghan said, do you know what? I have connections in Los Angeles, because do you know where I'm from? Los Angeles. Why don't we go to Tyler Perry's house? And so then they did. And then that's when all the shit got crazy, and everybody was like, oh yeah, they quit. But they didn't quit. They didn't quit. The press just said they quit. They said, well, we'll stay on, and how about this? We'll stay on and we'll be quiet, and we can do kind of what the same thing as you did with Edward. And they said, no, we can't do the same thing as you did with Edward, because this is much more scandalous than what happened with Edward. And they said, yeah, but you gave Edward, he got to be the Duke and he got to be in charge of Australia and stuff. We could just stay on the down low and we could do what we do. And they said, no, this is much more. Oh, that's not even what we're trying to do, Joshua. What are you doing? You weren't paying. I wasn't. Everybody. Let's solve racism. Come to the racism workshop is not what we were doing. We were talking about how much more there is. Apologies. We'll edit that right out. Don't even worry about it. Is anybody else getting hot? A little high? Anyway, news broke. And so then they went to Tyler Perry's house, and then they were in Los Angeles. And that's how they ended up in a situation where they were going to talk to Oprah Winfrey and say what really happened, because the people were telling all kinds of lies. And whether or not the queen was the one who said the racist shit, it still got said. And then also, too, she's still the one who said you don't have a detail. And we know how global racism works. And so still, she's the one who may have been setting up their assassination, or at least one of them. Maybe the babies. I don't know. Anyway, she's pregnant again, too. And so they got scared. They were at Tyler Perry's house. Then Piers Morgan is seen here shitting on his own career for the last time. Probably not. Lost his ever loving shit on the news about all of this, and kept finding things to say about it all, in spite of having it pointed out to him multiple times by all of the brown and black guests, by one of the white guests, by one of his black co-hosts, that he should maybe stop opining, because where the crown itself, where the queen and them did say the things about like, hey, we're not going to comment on the racism per se because it's dangerous, and when you are actually creating races of beings like horses, and that is your obsession, and then skin color comes up because there's another one being born, is it going to be a thoroughbred? Might be a consideration, and we don't want anyone digging too deep into that, especially because there's Nazis in the past and stuff like that. So we don't want to get too deep into it. Well, he decided instead to double down and say, no, it's all a lie. She's full of shit. And I hate her, I hate her, I hate her, I hate her, I hate her. All over the morning news show, to the point that there were hundreds of thousands of complaints, along with being told several times, you are exhibiting white supremacy right now. While on the air, he stormed off the set. He just bounced. He said he could not be here anymore while the Queen is being besmirched so, because it's reprehensible, because it's not good, and I'm paraphrasing, to talk so poorly about your Grammy and Grampy when they're so old and frail and we need them so much. Well, he has not been back today to apologize for his actions nor his comments, because after all of these comments, he and the 54 tweets about Meghan Markle that he had made before this, just this year, and the fact that some people were investigating a bit, and it seems that maybe he had been on a public date with Meghan Markle right prior to her taking up with Harry, and that he has talked very bitterly about not being invited to their wedding, but more specifically about just being dropped by Meghan and never hearing from her again, being ghosted, I guess. So he was going to be investigated, and instead he's just fired. He's fired. This is getting crazy. Now, while this again seems trivial, it does open the conversation about there being an active Labour Party again in the UK. Oh, and also too, Barbados has decided that they're done with the Queen being in charge of them anymore. The Queen is out. The Queen Barbados doesn't want to be a colony of the Queen no more. And here's hoping that Jamaica and Canada are next. Thank you to Meghan Markle, who discovered how black she is. She is certainly black enough now, evidently. And no, you're never going to be white enough. So just stop trying. Stop trying. Join us here in the Black Sheep Club. It's lovely here. Oh, here. This nipple is not the one I was trying to. Joshua, we're going to cut that out too, right? I mean, we had a dynamic closing there a second ago. It was fantastic. No, seriously. I thought we landed on something really strong with that. That was okay. Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait to find out what's going to happen on the show next week, because this shit is insane. This has been another Smoke and Mirrors. Thank you so much for joining us. And truly, it's an honor to be able to spend some time with you. Hey, listen, do you like what we do? Well, you can check us out. We are all over the IG. That's IG at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That is for comedy, culture, and blackness. You can also, if you would like to see the words and do a thing, you could go ahead and do that at the Twitter. The Twitter is Caballo Negrito. Caballo Negrito. That literally translates to little coffee in your cream will always make it better. Caballo Negrito for the monolingual. Coffee in the cream always makes it better. Hey, you know your bloodline cream, not your. Anyway, whatever. Do you have a thought? Do you have a comment? Do you have a question? Hey, a suggestion about a guest who should be here with me? Shoot all of those to us at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That is Comedy, Culture, and Blackness. Smoke and Mirrors CCB at gmail.com. And we will be in touch and we will respond. And we might even read your thing on air. This thing right here, this is produced by Tracy Tatamy in such an executive fashion. Wow. Also produced and hosted by myself, Carlos Kareem Wyndham, with the Fadational Linguistic Creations. Hey, do me a favor. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. What's that mean? That means if you're going to go outside, wear 2 masks, at least until you've had both your shots, and then very, very, very long after. If you come inside and you're with immunized people, then go ahead and take your mask off. Hug up on whoever you feel like. Doesn't even fucking matter. Have a good time with it. And what else? Oh, yeah, wash your hands, too. We went over this. The Muslims were right. Wash your hands 5 times a day. Why? Because we love you. And we'd love to see you back here with us next time. When that's going to be on Thursday. Okay, that's a show. Bye-bye.